Today we will discuss while statement. Okay. It is one of the conditional and control statement used to execute a set of instructions until the condition is false. So if you look at the syntax, you will have first initialization. Then you have while statement followed by testing condition enclosed in parentheses. Okay, and then you can have some set of instructions here. And then increment or decrement. Okay. Then you will have the termination of the while block. Okay, then followed by you have some sort of next statements, of course, right? So here, if you see the working logic behind the while statement is first initialization happens, then the condition is going to be tested here. If the condition is true, then the control will be allowed inside. You will have some set of instructions inside. You can say it is a while block. Then before the termination of the while block, you will be having increment or decrement. So again, after that, you will go back to test the condition. If the condition is again found to be true, you will be again allowed inside the while block where you can have these while block instructions to be executed. Then again, increment, decrement. Again, you go back here for testing the condition. How long you will be in a loop of this kind? Until the condition is false. When the condition is false, you will come on to the next statement. Okay. So let me draw the syntax diagram for the same. First, the initialization, right? Then what happens? Condition is going to be tested, right? Fine. If the condition is true, then what happens? You will be executing the while block, right? While block. After that, increment or decrement. After this, again, what happens? You will again go to check the condition. Okay. Okay. So how long this is going to be done? Until the condition is false. When the condition is false, you will come on to the next statements. Got it? So you can see this is very similar to for loop, right? The logic also is very similar to while for loop. The only difference in the syntax is the initialization, testing, and increment, decrement, all three together were in the same line in for, right? Whereas in while it has been separated. Initialization is before, then condition is going to be tested along with while. So when the condition is true, then you will be allowed inside the block, and then before the termination you have increment decrement, and again you go for a testing condition like this, and a loop you will be repeated until the condition is false. When the condition is false, you come on to the next step. So if you look at the logic, also very similar to that of the what do you call for itself, right? Okay, no much difference. It's very similar to for itself, right? But here if you see initialization and increment or decrement, these two are optional. Condition testing is must here, right? Without condition testing you cannot complete the while loop here. Okay, so yes, so here you can see initialization, increment, decrement are optional, but condition testing must be there, right? Without which the while loop will not be completed. Now all such programs which you have done before using for, they all can be done using while. Write a program to find the entered number is prime or not. Okay, so what is a prime number? A number which is
It has factors itself and 1.
Yeah, which is divisible by 1 and itself only. See, if I remove this only, then the definition is not complete. A number is a number which is divisible by 1 and itself. See, every number is divisible by 1 and itself, but prime numbers are divisible by only 1 and itself. They are not divisible by any other number rather, right? For example, if you take 5, okay, 5, you can see there are many numbers before it and after that, right? It is not divisible by any other number rather, right? It is divisible by only 1 and itself. For example, you take 6, it is divisible by 1, 2, 3 and itself, right? Like that, if you take 4, 4 is divisible by 1, 2 and itself, right? Okay, so let us say 3, 1 and itself. So you can see 5 and 3 are the prime numbers, whereas 6 and 4 are not the prime numbers, because 6 and 4 are divisible by not only along with 1 and itself, they are divisible by with other numbers as well, right? 4 as well is divisible by other numbers along with 1 and itself, like 2, whereas 3 and 5 are divisible only 1 and itself. So you can say 5 and 3 are the prime number. Now we have to devise a logic actually, right? So here, with the help of an axiom, we are trying to devise a logic. The axiom is if you take a number, let us take 5 itself. So between 1 and itself, what all the numbers you have? Okay, between 1 and itself, what all the numbers you have? If you can ensure that it is not divisible by all these numbers, then you can say that it is not divisible by any other number as well. Okay, any other number as well except 1 and itself, right? So this axiom says that in order to prove that a number is to be prime, you need to take all such numbers between 1 and itself. It means here in case of 5, I need to take 2, 3, 4, and I have to divide with all such numbers. Okay, and I have it is not divisible by any of this number which are between 1 and itself. Okay, got my point? So fine. Similarly, you can take 3 and divide 5 with 3. What do you get? It is not divisible. When do you say a number is divisible by some number? When the remainder you get out of it is a 0. Fine. When it perfectly divides, you say it is divisible. Yes. So similarly for 4 also you can check. 4 ones are 4 and the remainder is not 0. So I have ensured that by checking all the numbers between 1 and itself, that the number is not divisible by any of this number from this set, right? From this set, any of the number is not able to divide this 5 perfectly. then I can say, yes, this is a prime number. This is how we are going to devise the logic for the prime number now. So what I do is, I'll take a while loop here. I want to implement it with the help of while. So my number, my set of numbers should start from where? From 2 onwards, right? The numbers which I take to divide the number, they should start from after 1. After 1 means it should be from 2, right? And how long I should check before the number? I'm taking a variable I in which I'm taking all such values from the set which are between 1 and itself, right? And taking all these numbers, I need to divide n and ensure that n is not divisible by any of this number. Okay, so I have started from taking the first number from the set. The set starts from 2 and it go till up to n minus 1. If I say I less than n, what will be the last or maximum I value? It will be n minus 1 only. Got it? If I say I less than or equal to n, then n will be the last. But if I say less than n, it goes till up to n less than I equal to n minus 1, right? So I value will start from 2 and it goes till up to n minus 1 here, right? So now inside this while, what is that I'm going to do is, I need to divide the number n every time with I, where I is going to be varied between 2 to n minus 1. And then I have to ensure that the remainder out of it is not 0. Okay. If the remainder is out, the division is 0 at any point of time, I should say that it is not a perfect number. Sorry, it should not a prime number. So here, until I will not make the divisions for all such numbers from the set 2 to n minus 1, I cannot take a decision. So what I do is, I'll take a flag variable. I'll take a flag kind of variable, which is initially 0 here. Okay. So if n mod I equal to 0 at any point of time, it means that the number is not a perfect one. Sorry, prime. Okay. Number is not a prime. So what I do is, I will change the flag value to 1. Okay. And otherwise I will continue. But then the next number that I have to take, the next number that I have to take is the increment of I rather, right? So I should say I plus plus, okay? I plus plus. Then I should terminate this while block. I am terminating this while block. This is my logic. You can see here, my I starts from 2 to, let us say for example, if you are taking n value is 5. Let us say n value is 5, then I value starts from 2 less than 5 is 2. Then here initially what is the flag value? Flag value is initially 0. Fine, n mod I, yeah, 5 mod 2 is not equal to the remainder. You don't get the remainder 0 rather, right? You don't get the remainder 0. So you will not go inside, you will not change the flag value. Then what do? You will increment I. So I value get incremented to 3. 3 less than 5 is again true. You will be checking. Again, this is false. Then I value will be 4. Again, with 4, you go there. 4 less than 5 is true. Again, you check. Again, this is false. I value will be 5. 5 less than 5. This is false. Then you come out. So when you come out of the loop, if you can see that flag value is retained with 0 itself, then you can say the number is prime. Okay. See, at any point of time, out of the divisions, if this condition is true, the flag value will be changed. So when you come out of the loop and see that the flag value is 1, then you say that it is not a prime number rather, right? So let us say for example, you take n value is 6. What happens now when you take n value is 6? I value again starts with 2. Okay, 2 less than, or you take 4, no issue. 4 is also not a prime number, no? So we'll take 4. I'll take 4 here. So flag value is initially 0. I value starts with 2. And here you can see 2 less than 4 is true. 4 mod 2. 4 mod 2 is 0, right? Condition is true. When the condition is true, flag will be changed. Flag will be changed to 1. Got it? Then you come here and I value gets incremented. 3 less than 4 is true. 4 mod 3 is not equal to 0. But then I will be again incremented. 4 less than 4 is false. You come out of the loop. You can see that flag value is changed. when the flag value is changed, you can say that when the flag value is changed, only when this condition is true. When this condition is true, when the number is not a prime. So you are ensured that the number is not a prime. So what you can do, you can say that it is not a prime. So with the help of a single if else, by checking the flag value, that if flag value is 0, you say it is prime. Okay. Else you say not a prime. Okay. This is how the algorithm is. Now you can write the program for the same. Okay. This is how the algorithm is. Algorithm prime. Okay. So you can begin here and start. This is your logic. Got it. So now let us write the program for the same. All of you, I think, able to understand this, right? Okay.
In if condition, if we satisfy that, we can directly print no, sir, without using this flag equal to 1.
But no, but we have to check all the values from the set, only then we have to confirm. Otherwise, what happens? For example, for 4, if I say inside, if you want me to have this if inside, right? Inside the while, you want me to have this if inside the while, yes or no? Who is this?
Rule number 2, sir.
Rule number 2, yeah. If I have this if else inside, the while, what happens is, for 4, when you take 2, it is divisible. So you say it is not a prime. But for 3, you say it is not a prime number. So you will get contradictory messages, right? Prime and not prime. Got it? For 4, when you are checking it with 2, this is true. So then you say it is prime. But when you are checking it with 3, this is not true. So then you say that it is a prime. So the contradictory messages you get, not a prime and a prime. So what will be the correct answer? So until you will not make the complete divisions from the set that you have taken from 2 till n-1, you don't want to take a decision. So inside the while, you want to perform all the divisions varying from 2 till n-1. After you complete the divisions, right? After you check with all such values from the set 2 till n-1, then you are taking a decision, when you come out of the loop. So that is the reason why here we need to take a flag. So with the help of this flag, we will be knowing when you come out of the loop whether that flag has been changed or not. This flag is going to be changed, only this condition is true. So if this condition is true at any point of time, out of the set of divisions that you perform for all such set values, at any point of time, this is true, flag will be changed. Otherwise, it will not be changed. It means it will be 0. So for prime numbers, for all such divisions, this condition is false. Fine. So then flag is going to be 0 itself when you come out of the loop. That's how you can take a decision that yes, when I found flag value is 0 out of the while loop, it means that in none of the divisions this condition was true. It means the set which I have taken from 2 till n-1, for all such numbers, my number was not divisible. So then I can say it is a prime. That's how I can conclude that it is a prime. But if it is divisible by any one of the number between 2 till n-1, then this condition is true. When this is true, then flag is changed. When I come out of the loop, and if I find that flag value is 1, then I say it is not a prime. This is how I take a decision. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
So, in the
if
algorithm,
number
right?
is not a prime, then after testing, can flag value be anything, sir?
Initially, it is 0. Fine. Before you enter into the logic, it was 0. We are making it as 0, right? And only when this condition is true, flag is going to be changed. So
Yes.
for a prime number, this condition will never be false. So it never goes inside. What was the initial value? It was 0. So it will be written with 0 only when you come out of the loop. Got it?
Okay, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, yeah. Let me write the program for this. I need to take int I comma small n, the number which I am taking to test whether it is prime or not. Then flag, initially it is 0. I am initializing the declaration itself. You can do that. Okay. Then we're going to accept a value from the user, enter the number. Using scanf, you are accepting a value from the keyboard. It is an integer value, so %d format specifier you are mentioning. Then into which you want to read a value n. So how do you read? With the help of ampersand, address operator ampersand n, then semicolon. So now your logic starts. I value starts with 2. Then here while loop, you're checking I until I is less than n. Okay. So here you're checking whether n mod I. You're dividing n with I, where I is carrying between 2 till n minus 1. So after the division, the remainder out of it, you are going to check whether it is 0. Okay. If it is 0, then you are changing the flag value to 1. Okay. Then otherwise, you are just incrementing. Okay. And then going for the next iteration. Like that you will be doing. So when you come out of the loop, you are checking here. If flag equal to 0, the value of flag is retained with 0 itself when you come out of the loop. That can happen only when the number is prime. So you say that you want to print the number also. You can always say that %t is prime.
So not a prime, no sir, if flag value retained as 0.
If flag value retains 0, it means for all such divisions, it was never, produced. It have never produced the remainder 0.
So that's
When
not
number.
a prime condition, no sir.
Let me clear it. See, you are taking the divisor value starting from 2 till n minus 1 here, and all such divisor values you are taking and then dividing n. So when you are dividing n with I, the remainder should not be 0. If remainder is 0, flag is changed. So for prime, this condition will be false for every time. For all such values from 2 till n minus 1, this condition will be false for prime number. So what will be flag value then? It will be retained with 0 only. So when you come out of the loop, if you find flag value is 0, you say it is prime. Got it? If it is 1, when does it going to be 1? When does it going to be 1? When the condition is true. When the condition is true, when any of the divisor from 2 till n minus 1 could have brought the remainder 0. When it happens, when it will have the n, when n will have divisors, any one divisor from 2 till n minus 1 is perfectly dividing it. It means you got a factor.
Okay,
You got at least one factor from 2 till n minus 1 for n, then this will be true. When this is true, flag is 1, right?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So here you want to display the value of n, then else you say it is not a prime. Okay. is not a prime. Okay, so the logic is completed, the program is completed. Is this clear to all of you? We have accepted the value for which we want to test whether it is prime or not. Then the set of values, fine, for which we want to test. We want to test the division mod operation and to ensure that all the values out of this 2 to n minus 1, fine, are not dividing n. Okay, are not dividing n. So you are taking those all set of values in I, starting from 2 till n minus 1, every time being incremented before you go for the next iteration, and you are checking the division operation. Fine, you are dividing n with all such I, and the remainder out of it that you are going to get, you are checking whether it is 0. It should not be 0 in any case for prime. Okay, so it means this is false for all the cases. Then flag will be 0 itself when you come out of the loop. So you say then it is prime. Otherwise, for not a prime number, when you check, right, what happens? This condition will be true at any point of time. If it is true for any one instance as well, the flag will be changed. So when you come out of the loop, you can find flag is no more 0. It will be 1. So then you go to the else part and then say it is not a prime. This is one of the important program mostly being asked in your final exam and your lab external. Prime while. Okay, so now you execute this program. I have to choose the language. Yeah, let us take check with 5. 5 is a prime, it is saying, but again execute and check for not a prime. Check for 6. 6 is not a prime. Okay, got it? So the program is clear to all of you. This program can be again written using for also. Fine, you can write this program using for also. No? All these 3 together you can have it a single statement, that is for. So that will be your assignment. We'll discuss one more program here. Write a program to find GCD of 2 numbers. Okay. What is GCD? Greatest common divisor. How do you find?
Common
Okay, you
factor.
divide. Yeah, you divide. This is division method. Using division method also you can find. That is factorization method. You have 2 different methods. I'm using division method. So dividing 36 with 24, 24 ones are 24. I got 12 out of it. Then what happens? This is your dividend, right? And this is your divisor. Yes or no? So what happens now? After the first division is over, the remainder will act as a divisor and the previous divisor will act as the dividend. And again you carry the operation. 12 to the 20. How long you do it? Until the remainder is 0. The division for which you got the remainder 0, the divisor for the division is going to be the GCD of that number. Okay, I hope all of you know this, right? Factorization method is also there. You find the factors of 24, all factors you will write, and then you will write the 36 factors. The greatest common out of it will be the this is another method. Okay, but this will take more complexity when you come to programming. This takes less complexity, so I am going with this technology, with this technique. Okay. I hope the problem is clear to all of you. Now we'll try to devise the logic for the same. So here, what is that we have to do is we have to perform the division, right? I have taken n1 and n2, right? So what is that I have done here? N2 and here n1. So n2 mod n1 I have done, right? So when you perform n2 mod n1, the remainder out of it, right? The remainder out of it, I'll be holding it in some variable here. Okay, then I have to carry again this kind of operation further. How long? Until the remainder is 0. But when I have to proceed it for the next time, what I do is the current divisor. This is the current divisor, right? The current divisor will become the dividend for the next operation. Dividend for the next operation. It means the n1 should go to n2, and the remainder that you obtain from this operation will be your divisor. It means that will be assigned to n1. So what is that I have to do after this? I have to assign n2 value to n1. Okay, n2 value, the current n2 should be, current n2 is what?
36.
Okay. Oh, what is that I have to do? The divisor, current divisor should go as dividend for the next operation. It means n1 should be assigned to whom? n2. n1 should be assigned to n2. n1 should be assigned to n2. Got it? Then what happens? N1 is what? 24. No, that is assigned to n2. Yeah, then remainder should be assigned to n1. Got it? Yes. So REM should be assigned to whom? n1. Okay, so these are my three statements. These have to be repeated. So how long I should repeat? Until the remainder is 0, right? Until remainder is not equal to 0, I have to repeat this. But in order to get the remainder before I enter into the logic, I need to perform this operation before as well. Okay, so when I perform this operation before, these statements should come above, then my logic will be deferred. Okay, so how is that I'm going to write? In the next statement I'll be writing here, remainder equal to n2 mod n1 until remainder is 0. I should perform the operations. But then before I go for the next operation, what I do, I need to do these two statements, right? That is, n1 should be assigned, the current n1 should be assigned to n2, and current REM should be assigned to n1. And then again I have to repeat this process, that is n2 mod n1. Okay, this is my logic. Got it? Then terminate the while loop. So when I repeat this, how long? Until remainder equal to 0. When remainder I get with 0, when do I get remainder 0? In the last division rather, right? Where I could find the GCD in n1. So what will be my GCD value when the remainder is 0? n1. n1. So the result is nothing but the GCD will be what? n1. Okay, so this is going to be the result rather, right? So print GCD. So you can now complete the algorithm here. Algorithm GCD. So here the variables are int n1. You take some value for it. You can rather read it also while programming. N2 equal to 36 and a remainder. Okay, so this is the logic, and then you got the output in GCD, and you print the GCD. This is your end of algorithm, end of GCD algorithm. Okay, so I hope the algorithm is clear to all of you. The logic is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, you can now write the program for the same. int n1 comma n2 comma gcd comma rem enter the number, enter the two numbers, right? Enter two numbers. Percentage D, comma ampersand n1 comma ampersand n2. Okay, so here first you need to get the remainder by performing the division n2 mod n1 while rem is not equal to 0. So here the logic is n1 is assigned with n2 is assigned with n1. Then n1 should be assigned with. I can't write second statement before. Why? If I assign rem in n1 and then n2 equal to n1, both n1 and n2 will have remainder value, right? The sequence should be must, right? You can see
Yes.
n2 equal to n1 is must first, and then n1 equal to rem. Fine. Otherwise, both will get what? If you change the sequence, both will get same rem value. Rem equals to n2 mod n1. Okay. Then you will be printing the result. The result is available in. You want to take the result in GCD first. GCD equal to where the result is n1. Okay. And you want the original numbers to be retained because they will be lost when you come out of the while loop. You will take the backup of the same. You can take two temporary variables t1 comma t2, and you can assign these values here immediately after you accept n1 and n2 in t1 and t2. Okay. What happens with this? The original numbers you can find in T1 and T2. If you want to print the numbers also here, you can print it with the help of T1 and T2. GCD of percentage D and percentage D equal to percentage D. Here I want, in place of first percentage D, I want n1 value, the first value that is available in T1, because when you come out of the while loop, n1, n2 will be changed, right? n1 and n2 will be changed. They are not, they are no more the original, right? T1 comma T2 comma GCD is available in GCD, right? So now okay, the program is fine. So what we have done, we have taken n1 n2 two variables in which we are accepting the numbers, and t1 t2 for backup we have taken immediately after we have accepted the values. We have taken a copy of the same in t1 t2. Okay, this is t1. Okay, then
greater than n2.
yeah, we have divided n2 with n1. The remainder out of it which we have got, we have taken, and then we are comparing here. until remainder is not equal to 0, we'll be repeating. So when we go for the next operation, we will have to assign existing n1, that is divisor, to be the dividend for the next operation, and the remainder of the current one should be assigned to the divisor. And we again go ahead with the operation in the next stage. How long? Until the remainder is 0. When the remainder is 0, you come out of the loop, you can find the GCD in N1, which I have assigned to GCD, and then we are printing the same. Right, now we will execute the program and then see the output, right? Enter two numbers. Here I'm inputting, one is 24, another one is, let us say, 36. You can see GCD of 24 and 36 is equal to 12 you got, right? So this is how I can execute the program. The same program you can even write it using for as well. Yes or no? Yes, you can write, right? Or all the programs which you can write using for, they all can be written using while as well. Okay, so I'm giving you some assignments here. Let us take the assignments for today's class. Write programs for the following using while. One is perfect number, which you have done it already using for. Again, do it using while. Palindrome, Armstrong, strong. Okay, to check whether the number is strong or not, right? To check whether the number is Armstrong or not. To check whether the number is palindrome or not. To check whether the number is perfect or not. Okay, so these are the 4 programs that I'm giving you as assignments. I'm posting the same in your classroom. Okay, any doubts still here?
Sir, indaga problem n1 is greater than n2 ante emaytadi sir? తీసుకొని
then you trace. It will work for all. It will work for all. You trace and tell me whether it is working or not. Okay.
Mod వేరే వస్తుంది కదా సార్ 24/36 పాసిబుల్ కాదు కదా సార్ mod.
You trace, you give the values and then check it. You want me to execute and show the same here? Okay, let me execute as per his request. We'll run it again. You want to give the N1 to be more, right?
Yes sir.
ఎంత ఇవ్వాలనుకుంటున్నావు? 36 సేమ్ నెంబర్స్ లేకపోతే వేరే నెంబర్స్?
36 24.
Okay, no issue. You can give 36 and 24. Okay, still you are getting or not?
Yes sir. Yes sir.
It is going to work for all. It's a universal logic. Okay, when we made the logic, we will look with all possibilities, but while I am showing you, probably I may be taking some instances which are typically being used, but otherwise it works for all. Okay, is it clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but then this program can be still modified. That we will show you, probably when we are taking transitions. This is going to work for all. Okay, even if, say for example, you have zeros, there is a problem you get, right? If you take n1 value is 0, what happens? Division by 0 is infinite. This will not work. Okay, this program will not work when n1 is 0. Okay, in that case you will have to add that as an exception in this program. Got it? So if any one of the value is 0, the non-zero is going to be the GCD. Got my point? So here I need to add that condition here. Okay, let us say for example n1 is 0. N1 is 0. What is the result? Non-zero will be the GCD. Yes or no? GCD equal to n2. Got it? See, the logic which I have written only for when the numbers both are non-zeros. when both the numbers are non. But if any one of the number is 0, then the non-zero will be the GCD for it. So that I have to add it. I'm adding here. I'm adding those possibilities also, right? Then this will work for all. This is going to be universal now. You can give zeros also and then check after I give this, okay? If n2 equal to 0, what is the result? n1. n1 is the result. So GCD equal to what? GCD equal to n1. See, when 1 is 0, the non-zero will be the GCD. When both are non-zeros, only then this logic has to be implemented. So I have added those two cases also. Now this is going to work for all the cases. If n1 equal to 0, it will take GCD as n2. If n2 is 0, it will take GCD as n1. When both of them are false, only then it has to go here. So I have to have this as an else if. Okay, then my program work very fine. Else if when both are non-zeros, right? Or I can just say else, no issue, right? That's it. When I say else here, this else I have to terminate here, okay? Got it. Now you can see my program is going to work for zeros and non-zeros. When any one of them is 0, let us say n1 is 0, GCD is n2, then it will not go to this else if, or it will not go to the else of this, right? It will directly come onto the statement and print GCD. That's it, right? If let us say n2 is 0, then this condition is going to be true. This is false, this is true, then GCD will be n1 and it will not go to the else part of this. It will directly come here and then print GCD. Fine. If say n1 and n2 both are not zeros, this is false, then it goes to the else part of this, right? Where we have the logic to perform for non-zeros. So when you perform it for non-zeros, you get the GCD with n1, okay? Then you are going to print the same. Okay, now you run and then work for all possibilities. See, there is some error here, else block. Okay, we'll check it. What is the GCD of 0 and 54? 54. Okay, got it? Again, execute it by taking n2 as 0. 34 and 0. You can see 34 and 0, GCD is 34. Now you can take for non-zero, both non-zeros. 98. Take both zeros. It is 0, right? And both are zeros, it is obviously 0. So when you write the program, you will write the program based on certain cases. You will have to identify the cases. What could be the all possible cases that you may encounter with when the user is giving the inputs. I have before, I have added this. You could see my program was working only for non-zeros, right? Yes or no? Because that was the case which I have considered. But then if the user is giving some zero values, then my program does not work. This is how we are going to upgrade. This comes under maintenance. As I said in the project development life cycle, program development life cycle, where you have the maintenance is one of the important factor, right? So the maintenance people will try to add the cases whenever new cases are being arised. Fine. But this is how, like for example, you got vaccine for COVID, but then you got the vaccine for the variant which the doctors have tested. But then if new variant comes, this vaccine does not work. it means this vaccine is not a perfect one. It has to be recurrently invented. Fine. When a new variant comes again, to fix that new variant, your vaccine have to be updated. This is what you said. This is what you say. It is a maintenance process, right? So similarly, in program also, you generally develop the program by considering some cases. But then if new cases arise over the time, then the case has to be fixed with a proper solution by adding the same into the existing problem. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll stop the class here, and I am posting